It's probably intimidating. You think it's too expensive. I can't do it. I've never done it. What's the first steps a person should be making to do a food truck?
Yeah, so I would say the first step, if you're just making plates out of your home, is to do a pop-up. Maybe partner up with another local restaurant, farmer's market, or some kind of outdoor venue where you can kind of sell those plates and kind of gauge what your price and your price, your everything, you know, like kind of test the market. We did that before we opened the food truck just because we didn't have the food truck permitted yet. So our first food truck was $15,000, paid for it in cash. We found it on Craigslist.
Dang.
We were either going to be murdered or we were coming back with a food truck. So we got back with the food truck. It turned out to be a total like lemon. So they took the high limit, which is something on a fryer that makes it from not going above like 400 degrees. The line was down the street. A lot of excitement. The fryer caught on fire. Flames.
No.
25 tickets deep. Like I was stacking tickets under tickets. My sister kept taking orders. She didn't know what to do. She was just taking orders. When you have to use the fire extinguisher, it's like when you have to throw up and you're like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. That's like what a fire extinguisher is in a restaurant, because after that you have to get rid of everything in the kitchen. To be honest, nowadays I would say low end you're talking
$1,000.
65,000 to about 150. Tricked out LA trucks though that have like LED screens and you know like AC inside. That's like definitely something that's hard to do. You can run like 200.
Are there any pros to just staying in a food truck and not going restaurant?
Yeah, freedom of schedule. You can close. You can run a season. You can be open from April to November and then take off 3 months. You're probably doing it with you and your friend or your sister or whatever. You don't really have to start thinking about employee sales tax and all that stuff over 10 employees. And because when we got 2 food trucks, all of a sudden now we're in a different bracket. You know, we're rolling with like 4 person a truck plus prep person. Now we're like kind of something to be looked at, with taxes. Become like your brand, and like the reason why you probably started this certain type of barbecue was because it's what your grandma did, and it's like there's like a story behind all this stuff, which is awesome. And that's what like I love about food trucks. There's a restaurant, there's like it takes time, there's investors, there's pressure, there's so many people involved. Food truck, it could just be you and your family.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Comedy Country. I'm your boy Joshua Black.
I'm Connor Larson.
Oh, and today we are telling you how to go from nothing to a food truck, and then from a food truck, if you already have a food truck, how to go from there to a restaurant. And we have an expert in the house, the owner of the Grilled Cheesery here in Nashville, a staple in Nashville. Crystal, what's good? What's good?
How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you for being on the show with us.
It's an honor. Big fan of the podcast.
Nice.
As of binging it last night.
Nice. Love it. Love it. I love that. Well, welcome in. First of all, let's tell us about why you are here and why you can actually give these people the details. When did you start a food truck?
Yeah, so why am I allowed to tell people what to do? That's a good question. So we started the Grilled Cheesery 13 years ago.
What does that mean though? Do you have grilled cheese that you're selling out of the house first?
Oh yeah. So no, we didn't do that. So it was always a version of a food truck. I mean, the first one was literally like caught on fire. Like we went from like super like bare minimum food truck and then kept upgrading.
What year we talking?
So we're talking 2010.
Was food trucks really popping?
No, it wasn't. It was like Mas Tacos and then obviously like Nolansville, but those were kind of stationary. They didn't go, so they're called site to site food trucks.
Okay. What about nationwide? Like had food trucks taken over by then?
So they were really popping off in LA at the time, and I'm a Los Angeles native.
Nice,
I know, I'm sorry.
Ice Cube.
I'm sorry.
Snoop Dogg,
Yeah. I mean, I'm Mexican, so I got some cholos in my family, so watch out.
Nice.
I'm LA. My mom grew up in East LA, so so food truck culture was always huge for us growing up. Like I grew up going to taco trucks, the beater ones that people didn't really want to go to, but that was like our thing.
That's what I always say. If I want to go to a Mexican food truck, I don't necessarily want them speaking English.
Yeah,
I need the point.
Please.
And just hope that's what
They've
I
got
want.
better things to learn
Yeah,
than English.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I say hola.
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. They see you. They're probably like, all right, not too
Exactly.
spicy. Not too spicy.
I do a little, but don't hurt. You know what I mean? But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So grew up with it. The what they were calling site to site, kind of like specialty trucks, where they're like only like really good burgers or really good, falafel or whatever, like, just one item that the chef is kind of doing really well, was like all the rage in LA at the time. So it wasn't a weird idea for us, you know? So when we were talking about doing a small business and we looked at locations here in Nashville, and just kind of doing the math of like starting a small business. The food truck was just the more economical decision.
As opposed to starting a restaurant, you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, is this concept going to work? So it's a great testing, even testing the market. Even it's like, oh, we do really good in Nashville, but we don't do so good in Franklin. We don't do so, you can kind of test the market. So we basically had a 7-year, until we opened the restaurant, a 7-year test market of where we did best. So we knew we always did the best in Hillsborough Village.
Right.
Always had a line in Hillsborough Village.
Okay.
So
That's
was
eventually where you ended up planning your restaurant.
Yeah, our first location was in Hillsborough Village.
Nice.
So it was like just kind of kismet that we were here.
How long did it take from you to start your food truck until you opened the restaurant?
So it took 7 years.
Okay.
But I never wanted to open a restaurant when I opened the food truck. I was really into like that, being close to my customer and kind of getting like instant feedback and kind of being in the mix and getting to do a little bit of everything. It was a lot of hustle, but I really enjoyed it. And I loved the rush of like having a long line and killing like a 50-person line. And it was like the best thing.
Something guerrilla style about just having a food truck.
Yeah.
Connie, you said you worked in a food truck before?
I worked in a food truck. I worked in 2 food trucks. I got poached.
Dang, you got poached.
What's poached? Oh, you were doing so good. Somebody said,
well, I wasn't.
They recruited him.
We did like a food truck Thursday, and this one guy I was working in his food truck.
Wait, what food truck were you
I was working
talking?
in a hot dog food truck.
Okay, can you say which one?
I can't even remember the name.
Dang, that's how unmemorable it was.
the glizzy truck.
Yeah.
I was going through a rough time, and the only
Dang, they always are.
The only music he played in the truck was Creed, and I was like, I don't think I can do
Can you take me?
And his food truck, like no AC ventilation, anything. So
No.
it was in Florida. I was like, this is rough.
Okay, this was in Florida.
Florida.
I thought you were trying to like be low key with the Nashville, like not trying to sell anyone out.
No, I would sell this guy out if I could remember his name.
You know who
And
you are.
then this guy who was like had been a chef and like at like a fine dining place, but he wanted to do like Hawaiian food, which was like,
Sure.
I don't know if I'm gonna do a brick and mortar Hawaiian
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
He was like, just come work for me. I'll pay you more, and you won't sweat your brains out every day.
Wow,
And I
that's
was like-
enough.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
So I worked there for like 6 months, and it was great. And
Hold
it
on.
was
So he found you-
2012, So it's like kind of around the same
Yeah.
time period.
Hold
Yeah.
on. So he was in line and got some hot dogs and said, "You need to come with me."
It was like a
That's
weird-
crazy,
it
bro.
Was like
That-
end of the
That
shift.
could have went either way.
It was like the wrapping up of the thing, and he gave us some food. I guess like they vendors like trade food and stuff.
Yeah,
He was like, I wanna
that's
try
the
something new.
that's the like
The
that's
cool communal
yeah.
part.
Oh, that's cool.
And his food was great. It was like this Hawaiian like fried chicken with like corn. It had like a different flour. It was great.
Nice.
But he saw me, and I think he could tell. I was like, man, this Creed's.
You're just in a corner crying.
Yeah,
He's like, I gotta get him out of there.
Is this Creed on repeat?
On
Yeah.
repeat. And then like
You gotta come with me.
occasionally, He would just mutter about being divorced, and I'd be like, "You haven't told me any backstory here, so I don't know. I can't like commiserate." He was like,
Yeah.
I miss her.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, dude. Let's. How many hot dogs we got?
Turn the creed back up.
Yeah, turn it up.
And
Yeah.
also like I'm like kind of a food nerd, so I was like much more excited to work with like the Hawaiian food truck than just like he was kind of doing hot dogs, and I think he was doing hot dogs because they were easy, not because he loved hot dogs.
Nobody does hot dogs because they love hot dogs.
Yeah, he hates hot dogs, but he's gotta make some
Spoiler
money.
alert. Yeah.
He was like, we can do hot dogs. I was like, all right, let's do it. Yeah, so I was way happier to leave.
Okay, so you have some pedigree. Okay, so
little
you're in the know. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
speak to you in industry terms then.
Perfect.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
All right. So now, for the people at home watching, if they can cook at home and they know how to make plates and they are thinking about getting a food truck, what's the first step? Because I think it's probably intimidating. You think it's too expensive. I can't do it. I've never done it. What's the first steps a person should be making them do a food truck?
Yeah, so I would say the first step, if you're just making plates out of your home, is to do a pop-up.
What do you
Okay.
mean pop-up?
So, I mean, literally just like you know, maybe partner up with another local restaurant or something, you know, like, or a farmer's market or some kind of outdoor venue where you can kind of sell those plates and kind of gauge what your price and your price, your everything, you know, like kind of test the market. We did that like before pop-ups were a thing, before we opened the food truck, just because we didn't have the food truck permitted yet. So we were doing like grilled cheese pop-ups, you know, and it really helped us be like, okay, we need to put more, we need to do less, we can serve less, we can charge more, we can charge less, you know, like so you kind of get locked down like what you're doing. It's like it's great to do it that way. So I would say, because that costs barely anything. Right. And then from that, I would definitely start looking for, what you have to start looking for is like your food truck. And that gets really intense because you can spend anywhere from, so our first food truck was $15,000, paid for it in cash, drove to Arkansas with 15 grand. We found it on Craigslist. Yeah. We were either going to be murdered or we were coming back with a food truck. Yeah. So we got back with the food truck. Dang. It turned out to be a total like lemon. Really? So they took the high limit, which is something on a fryer that makes it from not going above like 400 degrees, so it doesn't catch on fire. So that was removed. Oh, and so we didn't know that. Who needs that? And so our first lunch shift happened to be at the Nashville scene, because naturally you want your first lunch shift to be like in front of all the food writers in town. Yeah. These Nashville scene is a Nashville publication. I got this. It was me and my sister, just the two of us, you know, just thinking we got it all figured out. And the line was down the street. Down the street, a lot of excitement. Yeah. Tweeted it out. That was when like Twitter was like, you know, somewhat. Twitter was like the must. This was even before Instagram. Like this was really before Instagram. So we tweeted it out. Nashville scene, you know, the fryer caught on fire. Flames. No. I was probably
somebody's in the back of the line like, that's grilled cheese right there.
25 tickets deep. Like I was stacking tickets under tickets.
So you had already taken their money?
My sister kept taking orders. She didn't know what to do. She was just taking orders, taking money. So now we owe you something. Yeah. Oh. And there was flames coming from the fryer. So I turn off the fryer. When you have to use the fire extinguisher, it's like when you have to throw up and you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. That's like what a fire extinguisher is in a restaurant. Because after that, you have to get rid of everything in the kitchen because of the solution that comes out of it. Yeah. Everything has to close down. So at that point, we had served maybe like 20% of the line. I mean, we were like, and to top it off, the smoke was billowing into the building. So we left with the smoke smell. Yeah, that's a rough. And
so how do you recover from that? What
there
happened?
Was like 3 write-ups about it. It was so embarrassing. Wow.
Yeah, you're thinking you're gonna get a good write-up about the restaurant.
No,
then instead
it was really just about like how
who all got burned.
Like the need for safety and
the need for safety.
3 dead at grilled cheesery.
We think she's dead. Yeah, we think she died. But, you know, because people in this town are so gracious, you know, with like giving, you know, they felt so bad. And like, you know, the people that were served, it was good. But like, you know, at that point, the fryer catching on fire, it was like, I'm sorry, guys, like we have to close. And then just like letting everybody in line know, it's just so humiliating.
Hey, could you pass this back to the guy behind you?
Yeah.
We're done.
Can you guys share? Yeah. And I don't even know what you paid, so I don't really want to give you money back. Like I need to pay for this fryer. Yeah.
And also don't tweet at me today.
It was there was pictures.
Oh, of course,
yeah, there was pictures.
Somebody's going live. Look at this bullshit.
Yeah. No, thank God it was before that. This was just still photos, you know. And so
how do y'all bounce back?
It was the worst. So that's like kind of the worst. You know, I feel like that's the most humiliating. So we contacted them and we were just like, you know, build that relationship. Like, oh my God, this is what happened. I think we went and fed the office. Like we just brought, you know, we did like a free thing and then just kind of used it as like a joke because I mean, how do you just, you know, recover from that? Just like got our fryer.
You know, you're like, I'll be back, but this is a rough start.
So that could have, I had the choice. I was like, I think this isn't like I was like, should I just not be doing this? Obviously, this is crazy. So I kind of used that time while we're getting the truck fixed to wise up, and just like I never rolled with the 2 crew anymore, because I was like, okay, we're obviously like some people are trying to find. We always had 3 or 4 people on the truck. All of our safety, like I just didn't know. Like I didn't know people took high limits off of fryers, you know. So I mean, you know, so I mean, whatever. So like I got really, really into safety and precautions and like what things should be, and I think that kind of really helped in the beginning when everyone was opening food trucks. I was like the one that was like, be careful, you know.
How long after that fire were y'all up and running?
It was just a few weeks.
Okay.
Because putting a high limit, I mean, that's just like a little mechanism that you know, so
that they should have just normally put in.
And then we got the truck professionally cleaned. Yeah, I mean, like it wasn't a crazy thing. It was just like I needed to regroup to be like, am I doing this or not? Like I was a fine dining restaurant chef.
Were you afraid to go back out that the excitement was dead, or could you feel that?
No,
people still...
they were talking. Oh, there was definite like.
It's also, it's like, I think if you like, I mean, if I heard a food truck's like caught on fire, or like something would happen like that, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's a terrible, everything's gonna be bad. I just think that happens.
It happens, but
point.
like it like could have blown up in front of everybody. It's super dangerous.
And, like,
yeah, but that's a better story than like there were rats in the soup.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That type of shit.
This was like not my fault.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You have to go out of your way to take the high limit thing off. I don't think that's like.
I don't know. That guy was gone.
You're taking my
that
truck.
guy,
I got something for that.
That guy was like MIA after this. We got cash. Yeah.
He's from Australia.
He wasn't even from here. Yeah. So I mean, you know, I found myself a really, really good restaurant repair guy. Nice. He was crazy as hell, but he would always like literally he just met me after every shift. I'd be like, this is wrong. This is what's wrong. Like I was figuring out what was wrong, you know? And so basically we rolled with that truck until we were just making so much money where we're like, we're going to make enough money to buy another truck. So we had another truck built out.
How long after that?
So that was just like a year and a half after we got another truck.
How often were y'all taking
the fleet thing where you have multiple trucks?
Yeah, so at one point we were running 2 trucks for a few years, and then that got me into like how it is to be in an operations, because then I was hiring out, and it was like, you know, my husband and I like. He was the business side and I was the food side, and we needed a prep cook and we needed a space and we set up. So TSU was instrumental in us kind of systemizing that way. Nice. We were in the small business minority, it was a program. So that's where we met the dudes at Slim and Huskies. Like that's how we kind of got tight with them.
That's a pizza spot here in Nashville. They've been killing it. 3 black guys out of North Nashville that's just tearing up the food scene.
And they're their energy is just like insane. So this is when they were running a moving company. I mean,
hold on. Let's go back. Because we got a person who you told him to go to the market or go and do pop-ups.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got way off track.
No, that was great.
Okay.
That was great.
So pop-ups.
Yes.
Do your local farmers markets. You still need permits and stuff, so it's still a process, and you're still going to need that stuff when you go into your food truck. Okay. And then you have to.
Can they still get a food truck for $15,000?
I don't think so anymore. Okay. I wouldn't recommend it because what I paid for $15,000 obviously wasn't great. So to be honest, nowadays I would say low end you're talking $65,000, $65,000 to about $150,000.
See, 12 years a slave?
Yeah.
Things change.
Things change in 12 years. Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a fun
I mean, you would, right? It wasn't your problem, right?
That's hilarious.
This is a rough watch for me.
Awkward.
All right, but hold on. So low end is $65,000.
Low end's about 60. I mean, this was like several years ago too. So maybe low end's different now, but I mean, you can. Depends on how, and it depends also how you can fix things. Because if you're, capable,
But if you're nothing like me, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So
you'll be good.
So 65 to like 150 really tricked out LA trucks though that have like LED screens and like AC inside. That's definitely something that's hard to do. You can run like 200. Yeah.
Really?
For sure.
Okay. But the good thing is if you're at home selling plates or you're doing those markets. A couple years of good money management,
and it's like low overhead.
Exactly.
It's you're probably doing it with you and your friend or your sister or whatever. You don't really have to start thinking about employee sales tax and all that stuff over 10 employees. And because when we got 2 food trucks, all of a sudden now we're in a different bracket. You know, we're rolling with like 4 person a truck plus a prep person. Now we're like kind of something to be looked at, you know, like with taxes.
Okay,
so
let's say 2 years have gone by. I've been doing my markets. I've been doing my pop-ups. I got some money to buy a truck. What should I be looking for on my checklist? Like, what are some things that I need, or what are some extra trinkets? What are we looking at?
So what kind of truck are we talking? Are we talking like barbecue truck, or we're talking like dessert truck?
Let's say we're doing barbecue.
Okay, so barbecue. So you're gonna have to have a hood. So anytime you have to have a hood, I would say like anyone can think of a savory concept without a hood is like winning, because there's so many regulations with the fire department in regards to getting that checked. Sorry, too soon? Too soon?
Oh, yeah. You don't know about that story, just Google me and the fire department. But go ahead for context.
I mean, you know, we got some money, right? It's okay.
Well, you never know. You never know. You never know.
That's a gray area.
Yeah, you never know.
So
we're looking for hoods.
So if you have to get a hood.
Okay, which is what for the ignorant? Like,
so it's a system. It has a fire suppression system that sucks out the hot, steamy fryer. You know, all the griddle, all the smells and everything. It takes it exhausts it. It's an exhaust system, like you have in your like you have above your stove in your house.
Got you.
So it's that, but
like a chimney almost for your.
Absolutely, but high powered. So it's like pulling all the, you know.
There's a ton of rules, right? Like
there's a ton of rules. Yeah. I mean, but when I started, they didn't even really know how to permit them. Now they know how to permit them. So there's obviously, when you go on, there's definitely people now that know how to regulate these. So I would just contact them first. Like, they become your good friends because they actually help you.
How do you find them?
So, the health department, and then they have a food truck specialist that is like kind of keen on like what, you know,
the requirements are.
Or the Nashville Food Truck Association. I'm the president this year. Wow. So we are a community of food truck owners that just like help each other. Yeah, so a lot of us, you know, I would say like I haven't opened a truck in several years. So maybe there's some new codes that we're just up on, but we're not completely new on that I would probably ask. You know, we have a Slack channel that we all use. And I mean, like, it's so helpful to be in an association where you're like, help me not make a financially terrible mistake by because we want to do the right thing. Like, we want to be safe. I mean, like, I want a hood because I don't want smoke in my eyes all day when I'm.
You don't want the fryer exploding.
You don't want the fryer exploding.
Exactly.
You know, and so, you know, these regulations are great. And, you know, so definitely the Nashville Health Department will definitely help you, and they're so helpful and they're really nice. They want you to pass your codes. They want you to be, you know, they have free classes for sanitation and stuff like that.
Tell me this: are there any pros to just staying in a food truck and not going restaurant?
Yeah. So the freedom of schedule. You can run a season. You can be open from March or April to, you know, November, and then take off 4 months.
I worked with, he wanted to go surf like 3 months of the year.
Yeah.
He would just leave, and I was like, but he, you know, before he worked at like a restaurant where it's like, if you work in like a fine dining place, that's your whole. Yeah. That's like an insane.
And when you close, you're done. You know, like there's no like, you know.
And you can't take it to Arkansas or Louisiana.
Yeah. No. And that's a little tricky too when you cross lines, because there are different regulations and permits that you need.
Okay.
But if you're doing like a special festival or event or something, you can do that because that's kind of covered by the festival.
What did you find that was the most lucrative when you were doing food trucks? Like, were there any like special events that were like, okay, this is
festivals, festivals.
Really?
There are some people that just do festivals.
Wow.
And it's like a turn and burn. Like you're just.
Think about, if you're at a festival, you're already high. And you're, I mean, if you're me, and you're just like, man, I smell that food.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, dang, I gotta go do it, even if it's a line. So I guess you're right.
But you're at a festival. The music's probably in the air, ready. You don't care. You know, like Live on the Green.
It feels good.
People were waiting for hours for food, and they were
even
happy
if I'm
to
not
do
hungry,
it.
I like that they're there.
And you're socializing. You're in a line with people. It's like it's not like you're waiting to go back to your office building.
Plus, I think enough people know like food trucks are like, this is a person. The money is going to a person who's trying to do something.
Yeah.
If you go to Chili's, you're like, that money is going to, like, I don't know, a conglomerate somewhere that I have no clue who's getting that money.
Yeah, I mean, like, we don't know where Chili's money's going.
Yeah, I mean,
Great
probably
point.
like a government somewhere. Like, that's how big Chili's is.
Yeah,
You're
you're
like,
right. You feel like you're
Who really
investing
owns
in
Chili's?
something.
Yeah. So yeah, most of the time the food truck owners are on the truck, and they all have such vibrant personalities, like you said. Like there's definitely some kind of weird mumbling divorce situation they're going through, or I mean, it's just like they become this. Like our whole thing is like at the National Food Truck Association is like we love to feature the food trucker, not the food truck. Exactly. Because I feel like you become like your brand, and like the reason why you probably started this certain type of barbecue was because it's what your grandma did, and like it's like there's like a story behind all this stuff, which is awesome. And that's what like I love about food trucks. There's a restaurant, there's like it takes time, there's investors, there's pressure, there's so many people involved. Food truck, it could just be you and your family, and there's like an awesome story.
You can do exactly what you want, right? Because like the overhead's so low,
and like you can pivot. Like if maybe the late night thing isn't working out, like try to get on the office, the office lunch beat, or maybe that's not working. Maybe you just do festivals and run a season, Yeah,
and that's listening to you. Would you say it would be dumb to just start a restaurant without starting a food truck first?
Well, I think that a lot of restaurants have closed recently. Like, I mean, you kind of see what they do.
Tough.
So many restaurants are doing food trucks just to test the market.
Exactly.
Just to test.
To me, it's too big
just
of a risk
to test the market.
to get a brick and mortar.
So you sell the truck, and who cares?
It's like your favorite band blowing up, where you're like, I used to see them at like noon at whatever gas station. Now they have a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
It kind of like builds a loyalty where you're like, I want to go.
Yeah. So we're seeing now in Nashville, a lot of concepts have done that. Like we've seen some like, places from out of town come in and have food trucks, and they'll just be like sampling their menu items to see if it's what Nashville even wants. And honestly, a couple of them didn't open here. Yeah. Like we saw some food trucks, but we didn't actually see the restaurant ever open.
Like, it didn't work. We're going to go. That's crazy to see like it's a regional taste thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
if you think about it, if you go to Oklahoma, you give them hot ass chicken. They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. That's not the style.
Put a pickle on that thing.
Yeah. And I think like Hattie B's did that too. They had a Airstream, and they took it to Atlanta before they opened their location, and I think they knew that starts the buzz. It's a roaming billboard, So I think it's a lot of things. It could be used as marketing for companies that have lots of extra. I mean, that's honestly who's getting the $200,000 truck. Yeah, is like Jack in a Box is like doing the tricked out truck.
They take some of the like. Underground cool like part of it.
Of course.
It's a culture thing, but so that's cool too. It's nice but like you want to support the one where the food truck owner is in there, and you can ask them for the thing that they don't have on the menu.
If you pull up to a food truck park or a festival, you sell chicken, another guy selling chicken. Is it awkward? Is it weird?
It's awkward.
Damn, really? Are you not mad at the festival guy? So why the hell did you bring 2 chickens here?
Okay, ask me about the other pressed sandwich place that opened.
Oh.
Okay, they parked right next to us. They tried to siphon off our line.
No.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Oh, it happens. So now it's more like thought out, and there's like,
really
even better than these guys. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's rivalries. Yeah. There's definite, because their personalities. This is like, this is their family's recipe. Like they think that they are the best, and I want.
Fred again.
Oh, there's a lot of there's a lot of like a polite camaraderie about like like they're kind of like, but it's a very like machismo. Like they're standing around with their arms crossed, kind of talking to each other, and they'll be like, "That's what you do, okay?"
This happens in comedy too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think every industry,
for sure.
It's just a funny mix of people, because it's like so like ethnically diverse, so it's just like so many different cultures and like age ranges, and it's hard because a lot of the younger people that are like really good on marketing and stuff, like how I was, are kind of like, they're like, what is she doing? Like they're kind of like, our food is better. And we're like, we didn't say we're the best food. We said we were the best food truck, which means we were the most popular, because I mean, what we're serving, I mean, I stand behind it. I love it. But some of these Euro places and these, I mean, they're incredible.
But that's another thing that's kind of like comedy. It's like you got a clean comic, a white comic, an Asian comic. It's like so many things. It's like when somebody says like, I don't like comedy, or I'm like, dude, it's like saying I don't like food. It's too many things to choose.
It's
like musical comedy.
Yeah.
It's also, it's like, you don't have to like that. Just like the thing you
right.
like.
And it took me a while to realize that.
Yeah.
There'd be some comedians that were being like halted up as these greats, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Then I realized he's not talking to me. I'm not supposed to get it.
Yeah, that's not
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and not everybody likes certain types of food, you know? So, like...
Food's a crazy one, though, because it's so... You don't really have to interact with comedy at all in your life. You do have to have some opinions on food. It's just as a person.
I mean, you have to eat,
You have to
right?
eat to
Like,
live.
everybody
What
eats.
if you had to go to a comedy club to live? How funny
Dang,
would
that
be?
would be so fun.
That's what I'm
A
trying
lot
to do
of
with this
dead
industry.
people,
Trying to get there.
pushing the industry forward.
Okay, so all right, before we go from how to go from a food truck to a restaurant, can you give them maybe, let's say it's a girl at home, she won't start a food truck, but she needs some inspiration. What are some things that kind of like inspired you to keep going, like when you were first starting?
Oh, like just the local community of restaurateurs.
Okay,
Like
okay.
there's a really strong restaurant community here in Nashville of people that were born and raised here and are just so proud. I mean, you know, even just like every time we served around a restaurant, we'd bring them food.
Yeah.
You know, like not in front of, but around.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm a chef, like by like what I studied in culinary school. You know, like and worked. Like there's a level of respect in for these industry workers. Of like, let me come feed your crew. You know, like so we did a lot. I mean, I was a sous chef in a restaurant when I started the grilled cheesery. I was Arnold Mint from International Market to now sous chef. So I mean, I was already like a restaurant person. You know, like a back of house person.
Okay.
So that's also how I tested my grilled cheese. I would just make family meal with it, you know, and
that's
I'm
cool.
getting like honest opinions from people who aren't paying that are like got all the opinions, you know, and
Right.
they're just kind of like, you know, oh, that one's a little too much, or that one's not going to sell, or this one. And when you see people just like kind of going crazy, then you're like, we got one, you know, we got one that's going to be on the
Make me
menu.
realize it's an art.
It really is.
'Cause I'm like, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah,
It really is.
The pop-ups are the open mics of
for
food,
sure.
where you're like, I'll try it. This didn't work. This did work.
it did.
And then you keep taking it up the ladder.
Then there's one joke that everyone likes, like, all right, I'm keeping that.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that.
And you know what? It's the way you receive the energy, right? So that's what I'm looking for when I'm testing recipes. Even now, I'm giving you something and I'm just watching you, you know? And if you're not like, I can't speak because it's so good, like when you ate that French onion
my
mac and cheese at the
God,
restaurant the
that
other
was
day,
crazy.
like if you're not giving me that, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah. It was
Okay,
serious.
so if you're not, so it has
Like,
to
I was
be.
upset
Far away looking
because like
around.
I'm just thinking about it.
Look up into his face.
But yeah, like I ordered like a grilled cheese, and then my girl got like this new pasta they had, and then I ate mine and then tried hers.
You got
and I was
out-ordered.
Like, damn.
Yeah.
But I was too
he got
full.
out
Me
ordered.
and my girlfriend, we're like big food nerds, and we're always trying. Like, we'll just order different stuff, and then if she out orders me, it's like one of the only times I kind of resent her. I'm like, all right, it's I could have picked that too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I was
it's like a
misled.
competition apparently between you two.
I was going the healthy route.
You know when you want to be like, I read the menu correctly, because
Yeah.
the chef is giving you all the info to be like, this is really good, and if you sometimes I'm like, oh, I should have. How did I not know that's what I want?
Yeah. So I mean, I want to elicit that kind of response. I tell my team, like when I start recipe testing, so I'll start recipe testing now, which is like August, for the fall menu, which will come out in like October.
How
So I have
often do
a
y'all
few
change
months.
menus?
So we change menus twice a year now.
Okay, is that average or no?
I don't know. I mean, some restaurants change it every week, but I mean, like the nicer
knew they were doing
the
that.
nicer restaurants.
I
But
knew it because you would
like
go
you
to a
called
restaurant
them.
and you'd be like, man, what the fuck? Didn't I get the
they'll change it.
crudini or
Yeah,
whatever?
the crudini.
you say it like we got 'em.
Crudini.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
We
him.
knew it.
Get the cops.
He's coming back.
I knew it.
So
damn.
for a quick service restaurant, which is what the grilled cheesery is, it's not very common because
Okay.
training and stuff, it's
Sure,
hard.
sure.
But that's kind of like our thing. Like we do it
that's
twice a
dope.
year, and then we have little specials like throughout, whatever's
Yeah, it
good.
keeps you fresh too.
And it keeps like the local people coming back. It's not the tourist people get the thing they saw on the Food
guess you're
Network.
right. Yeah.
They don't want to try the new thing. They want the thing they saw on TV. And then
right.
so we have that, and then we have the simple things, and then we have the stuff that like I'm like, okay, it's only this week. It's never gonna taste like this again.
We're gonna try it. We're gonna see.
Yeah,
that's actually, I like
which
that
is like
stuff you want.
fun. Like that's the stuff I'm gonna feed my
And
friends.
so that's what the pasta was I had. That was a tryout.
Well, that's on the menu, but
Okay.
yeah, that's one of those that I would like probably. That's why I made you get it.
Yeah, that was brutal.
He didn't even order that.
Like a,
yeah.
Like a thing you were trying, and then it like took off.
Yeah. So, and I know too, when my team, they get staff meal, they can order whatever they want off the menu every day. If whatever they're eating the most of, I'm like, okay, this is like, they choose to eat this every day. Yeah. Like the certain salads we have on the menu, you know, like this is what they're, so I'm always paying attention to like what everybody's doing. And I think that's what's made us kind of like still be around for this long, you know? I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs. The pandemic killed so many restaurants.
You survived though.
We survived it. We closed 2 restaurants, but now I know how to close restaurants. So I'm like, you don't know anything until you've closed a restaurant. Wow. Like you've never like, I mean, I feel like I'm such a stronger business owner now.
So what do you mean? What's that process?
So the process is like undoing everything. I mean, you have to you have to let go people. You have to look people in the eye because I wouldn't do it anyway.
That I hated it and it sucked.
Yeah. I had to let people go that I would never wish that on. So, you know, luckily.
How do you do it? Do you get? See, I'm too nice.
Terrible.
I feel like I gotta like get him a job before I fire him.
We did. We offered them,
now
and then they matched.
You just give them a bag of cocaine.
Sell this.
Here you go.
Yeah. Sorry. Don't get caught. You didn't get it from me. Yeah.
You're gonna cook it. You're gonna spin it.
Yeah.
All right.
So you know, we luckily everyone's hiring, so we just make sure they were matching their salaries or their hourlies, and you know, luckily because the community is strong. A lot, you know, it was an email, a text message that we were sending like, hey, we're doing this. Please don't tell anybody.
Okay.
But you know, this person's amazing. This person would be good for you. You know, like luckily they had no trouble getting new jobs. It's just like the community that you like build together, you know, and that's kind of gone, and it just like sucks, you know.
Like kind of like it gets like a very family atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you have to like fire your family, and in the pandemic, it's like you had to fire your family for no reason. I mean, nothing.
They did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. It wasn't their fault.
Like mismanage the business, and now you have to close.
Yeah, it was definitely just like when you're in a really high tourist area, like we were in Franklin. It just got hit. So you know, and it was just a matter of time. It's like we either let the money run out or we cut it off, knowing what it is now. You know, and that location's so beautiful, and it's just so hard. It was a little hard for us in that location anyways, because we kind of came in from Nashville with our very like, you know, we accept all people, and they were like, we don't.
We're the Confederacy. Welcome back to reality.
We left Nashville for this reason. Why we came.
They followed us out here.
They're like, what are you doing?
There's a Mexican woman in her restaurant
Get
outside.
Here.
Somebody.
We had, so they, you know, our employees were so proud to be like, we're that restaurant that isn't that. And we had, you know, obviously the people in the community that a lot of people that don't believe that way, you know, were coming in and supporting us. But, you know, there's a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands, you know, and they'll call every day, take that flag down, take this down. Oh no.
I've never had that much.
Like the flag says we're hiring.
Time to call anybody.
Don't hire. Yeah.
Oh, but hold on. And we're going too fast. Hold on. We got to go from. Because now we're talking about closing the restaurant. We got to tell them how to open.
Yeah.
So,
we don't want to.
That's the final step.
So you have to close.
So plates. But hold on. Okay, plates to farmers markets.
Yes, we did that. So now we got a person who's had a food truck for about 2 years. It's successful.
Yeah.
They stacked a little money up, and now they're thinking about getting a brick and mortar. What's that process like?
So the process is. So there's a lot. So you got to get your business plan right, because running a food truck is nothing like running a restaurant. At all. Like it's nothing like it. Yeah, so I learned this the hard way, you know? So, you know, we set up our restaurant just how we set up our food truck, but you have like 10 times more employees and shifts and there's downtime. So you got to have side work, and, you know, you have to have, professional cleaners, and there's inspections. And I mean,
you probably have to be like open longer too, because with a food truck, when you're not working, you're not bleeding money, but a restaurant, it's money.
Yeah, the hours, creating consistent hours. And then now we're, you know, having to tell people that we're not just a food truck, we're also a restaurant. And so like your marketing. So we immediately, we've always had a really good social media following. So we immediately like took people on the journey with us, and like, we're like, here's the spot, here's what it looked like. And, you know, like these are like the hard things about it, and kind of took people through that journey on Instagram. And I felt like people really invested in us when we opened. We opened to like a pretty huge, like awesome following. And then you just have to prove yourself, because now I'm not making, or just like someone I really trust is making those sandwiches. It's like a ton of people that are needing to be trained. So I would say if you're not
it
a
feels
good,
weird with your art. I feel like
it's like
That's the restaurant
you're
thing.
seeing it out of your body. It's
where
like someone just telling your jokes.
right, exactly.
It's like you're not telling it right. It's my joke, but you're not
Right.
saying it right.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like I
yeah.
don't
Your
say it
name's
like
on the
that.
building,
And
it's
you're
like,
Yeah, you
and
got to detach a little.
and although me and my husband who like own this together, I've always kind of been the one out front. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's literally like they'll say like, oh, she, her, like I'm the only one,
Right,
you
right,
know?
right.
Yeah.
And it's just so many more people than that. There's general managers, there's shift leads, there's dishwashers, everybody.
What's some things you didn't expect going to the restaurant industry that kind of threw you off?
People to be so crude
about
online.
People are insane online. People are not nice about
We
anything.
always, I think we were just real. I mean, we got some tough stuff in the beginning with the food truck, but I was like, you know, it didn't hurt me because I was the one doing mostly everything, you know. So I'm like, I know it tasted good. I made that myself. This now I had prep cooks and production people and training. So I would say if you're not a good teacher, you should not be working in a restaurant.
Interesting.
Because if you can't show somebody how to do something, then you have no business expecting that out of
Yeah,
them.
like that dude on Food Network who's screaming at people all the time.
Yeah,
What's the guy?
yeah. Which one? Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, he could outcook everybody, right? Like,
so
so
it's passion.
It's passion, but also there's like. That's the generation that's coming into work at restaurants right now isn't going to take that. They'll walk out,
Yeah,
you know?
that's a
So you
huge-
always have, you also have to have respect for people, which,
Right.
So I never wanted to open a restaurant, like going backwards, because I wanted to create a space that I did not get to work in. Obviously, I was like a young female working in a very male-dominated industry. There's, right? So like, there's a lot of like suck it up and cry in the walk-in situations, you
Right.
know, where you're just like having to be tough for like what reason, you know?
Be tough.
Yeah, it's
Figure
like
it
there
out.
was a
I
lot
think
of
it's, like, weirdly, like,
it's
you know, like
it is
the
really. I mean, yes chef, no chef. Like you're very like head down, and you know.
Interesting.
that like French military brigade stuff.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty
I mean, that was my training. So
At ease, waitress.
yeah, but like you're talking about like kids making sandwiches at this
Yeah.
point. I'm talking like
Exactly.
college kids. You know, we have a lot of Belmont, Vanderbilt. I mean, these kids are like going to be doctors and lawyers, and so they're not worried so much that their sandwiches are. But these people actually turned out to be really, really good employees because they already had a higher level of like what their expectation was for themselves. Like basically, like if I can't do this, how am I supposed to like
Exactly.
save the
Gotta
world?
respect
Also,
for it.
like food has gotten much cool. Like I like, I love food. Like it's like there's not a world where I'd be like, oh man, I'm working in this restaurant. It's like that's I don't think that's how people view that job anymore.
Yeah,
It's
there
like,
has
you
to be a
wanna work in
good
cool-
energy and good vibe.
Like,
Yeah.
we make cool food. Like when I worked at the Hawaiian food truck, I was like, this food rocks. Like this is cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even though we had to like set up every day and like do the I wasn't like, oh, this stupid job. Like I had tons of jobs where I was like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this guy. He's doing a cool thing. This is fun. So I think you probably get better buy-in.
So exactly that. So that's why I want everyone, if I make something and I'm like, oh my God, this came out so good this time, everyone's tasting it. Everyone's tasting it. It's like, if we're not excited, how are we going to get people excited? We were, and what I didn't expect too, opening a restaurant, my register person, which is just like, I didn't even realize how much I had to invest in time in them, is selling all my food. I used to be me at the window and me, you know, right there giving people food. Now it's like this 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I need them to be like excited, knowledgeable, you know, like.
It's impossible because they're 16.
Right,
to be
exactly.
But you know
excited
what?
and knowledgeable.
Surprisingly,
Yeah.
like if you can teach somebody and energize them and give them that and show them that, it's like they will give it back and it will come through. Yeah.
Yeah, something about a cool boss or a cool manager that kind of like, all right.
We have such great vibes in our shop. Like I feel like we hire personality, and we said we could teach you the rest. Like
key.
show up, personality,
That's the key.
and we're busy. They make more tips.
All right, tell me this.
You know,
Ballpark, probably a hard question. I've got my food trucks. I'm ready to get a restaurant. Roughly, what can I expect to spend to start up a restaurant?
okay. Well,
Restaurant?
Start a restaurant.
Ooh,
I got my
think this is
food truck.
gonna
Now,
be-
mind you, don't
I
forget
don't
you.
think people are starting restaurants. I think like groups are starting
Well,
restaurants, right?
that's
well,
true.
no.
But
I mean,
let's say
that's not true.
But if I
That's
got
not
if I got a
true.
food truck and let's say I got 2 food trucks and now we're cooking, I
Yeah.
could technically sell those and go all in, or maybe I've stacked enough.
Yeah,
How much
I mean,
are we talking?
most of the time people don't continue to run their food trucks because it is such a different business that they just don't know, they can't pivot to
Yeah.
both, right?
Right.
So their goal was to have a food truck and then have a restaurant, and they're in the restaurant because now you're having to hire a general manager about like 50 to like 75,000 salary, you know? So
True.
for somebody who's worth that, you know, like,
sure.
and like worth every penny because they're there running their they're dealing with all the staffing and the ordering and
the food truck now.
they're running. Well, no, for the restaurants.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're running. Yeah.
And same for our awesome guy who runs our food truck. He is out there in the cold, in the hot, he's getting the truck fixed when it's down. He's dealing with flat tires.
So that's the first guy you got to hire, the general manager.
Yeah. So I always say, if you want to work on your business, you won't work in your business. So I quickly phased myself out once we got 2 trucks, so I can oversee and then nitpick everything before other people could. And then you go on and train people the way you would do it. And then, like, I used to eat at my truck at least once a week. I would go and order.
Oh, like you mean to get
as a customer?
Yeah.
Nice. I would go or I would take my friends and be like, get whatever you want, you know, and that would be like my test, you know, and I'd be like, what is it?
Hungry guys,
come with me. But you know, that helps because those are the people that are going to be like, ooh, I'm like, would you pay $10 for this? No, I don't want to find out later by some angry Yelp person. So back to like, that was the biggest surprise. Like, you know, that people could just say whatever. And you're just so exposed, and that matters because people will be like, "Oh, I want to try this place," but ooh, it says that the wait is too long.
And
it's
the thing
like
about food is that's one of the businesses that people are going to reviews immediately.
They check it.
Everyone thinks they know something. It is the same with like, I'm funny, and you're like, all right, well, let's test it out in front of an audience for years. People think they can be like, oh, it used to be good when it was a truck, now it's bad because you're like. You just like saying something.
Well, they'll say it doesn't taste the same as the truck. The food comes from the same place, so that's actually impossible.
This don't taste like no truck.
I'm like, the truck doesn't give it flavor.
This ain't no truck seasoning.
This doesn't taste like truck seasoning. I'm like, the food comes from the same place, so that's impossible.
They're like, when it was a truck, and I was the only one who knew. It's
like
cool.
a band.
So that's what hurt my feelings the most, I would say, because I would be like, we're trying to create this space. We're spending so much money on, you know, the design and doing the art, the everything, you know, everything for it. And then they'd be like, it's not as good as the truck. And it's like, you're
also,
so flippant,
why
you know?
did you tell me this?
It's just weird.
And then you'll see, like, I will have drafted like a 2-page like rebuttal, and then it's like delete because it's like that's what they want, you know. So like
it's never ending. They're not really looking for facts or answers.
No,
they're trolling.
They almost I'm starting to realize half the time, like when people comment on like something like that's doing really well, they just want to be involved even peripherally. Like you're like you just wish that you were doing something really well, which is fine, but this is a really bad way to go about it.
So I once was serving somebody in the restaurant. We were really busy, and like a sandwich came out the wrong way, and so I got it back for her, and then she was already mad. She's like, I don't want it. I actually saw her writing a bad Yelp review.
No.
Have you ever seen someone writing a bad Yelp?
In the restaurant? No.
I literally, because I was going to serve her something, and I literally saw her writing a bad Yelp review.
Oh, you got to double down. You got to snap a picture of her.
I was like, what do I do?
You got to snap a picture of her doing it, post it on your gram, and say, look at this bitch. And then, you know what I mean? And then you get in front of it.
And her kids are there. And she's
talk about them too.
I'm like, this is the lady. Well, you know, she came with her family, and like we had gotten one of the sandwiches wrong, and then it took time to come out because we were really busy. And so like I get it was a bad experience, and I was like, can I get you milkshakes? Like I was trying to make it right.
That's
like
my thing. When people are
trying to make it right,
trying to help.
She was done. She was like, she wasn't having it, and I saw her writing about it, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Like, what do you do? Like, do you like at this point, I've already offered her everything. Yeah. I've offered her a refund, but now she's going on, and this is gonna live. You know.
And have you never had a real job where mistakes happen, motherfucker?
Oh, it was, and we were so busy. It's like, oh my god, and I'm like spending so much energy trying to get this lady, and I'm like, it was you. The answer is walk away.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
also all the bad Yelp reviews, and like sometimes you'll be able to tell by the review if this person is like whose fault it is.
Oh,
yeah.
These ones you'll be like, that's completely normal.
But I know she wasn't gonna leave out that the owner was trying to like give her all the free stuff and like apologize.
First of all,
like
the owner is talking to you. Like about anything. Like when you go to freaking Burger King, you think the Burger King's there? And he's fucking
the Burger King is not there. Yeah.
Get the Burger King out here, please.
Who was that guy? If he wasn't, who did I talk to?
It's like, so it's another level, you know, the answer is always like, just walk away from it, you
just
know?
just keep working on the food being good and not work. But
It
it's so
hurts
hard
though, because you're like, I'm waiting for the alert to come on, you know, of like when she posts it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like sweating, trying to like, you know, get through my work day. And you're just like, this person just like negated everything we're trying to do today, you know?
For no reason.
Dang, so what does the future look like for you now? You came to Nashville, you started a food truck, the first food truck here.
Yeah, one of like the most, that's still open.
Then you got another food truck, then you got a restaurant, then you started the food truck association to help.
So I don't want to take that much credit. I did not start it. I'm just the current president.
Okay, Presidente.
I was voted president. But I mean, we were like the founding members who started to help with all the metro codes and like help with the mayor like wanted us to like, we had to form some kind of association so we could like have a voice.
Sure.
Because the restaurants were kind of trying to get us to shut down. So that was a long time ago, but now they're cool. And so, so the future I think is I'm really into like just being in my restaurant right now and like really fine tuning.
You are at success. Yeah. It's over. The game is over, but
Am
it
I
makes
done?
me wonder.
Should I retire?
I mean, you're a staple in a great part of town, right here in the city, and successful food trucks, and you're helping other food trucks. I mean, I think your job is done. You got kids.
I feel like
you got one kid, two kids?
I got one kid and a niece who I treat like a kid, my own kid. But I think that there's always room to help people, right? Like I think we're all at a different place in our journey. And somebody who's had like an amazing career may be like, hey, I just make really good chicken and waffles. And it's like, I would love to give you like my 5 cents so you don't make mistakes, you know? And I think that's what's cool about the association and just like being a part of the community because it always gives back. Like it always gives back. That one, you know, Crema who let us park there for free on Sundays and let us like roll there every Sunday. And like we created, you know, like it's like her generosity of other local business owners has made our business what it is. So now it's our turn to continue to give back. And then, you know, like more locations in good areas are always like an option, but I'm not like trying to, I mean, it's like so much money, you know,
this is super personal. You ain't got to answer if you don't want.
Okay.
But when you were starting in the food truck, did you have a number in your head that said, if this is in my bank account, that's what I'm aiming for. And once I get that, I'm successful. Was that a thought?
So I had no idea because there was no like business plan for, I mean, when I went to culinary school, we wrote business plans for restaurants with all the, you know, bells and whistles attached to it. There was no business plan for food trucks. So like we were out of the red, like where we were making money in like 6 months.
Damn.
So we were just stacking cash, which was insane.
Yeah. How
so
old were
we
you
just,
at this point?
I mean, I'm only 39 now. So
she was 16 when they started making money.
I was like 12, you guys. But I've always been really driven. Like I've never taken a year off. Like right out of high school, I went to culinary school.
Like 95. You know what I mean?
I think that's a curse too, because you know you kind of look young and you don't really look like you know what you're doing, so people don't really take you seriously. I'm like, I can't wait to be like an old Mexican lady that just gets to like you know like point and yell and I can't wait.
You just respect the grumpiness.
The respect, like now I have to be like kind of nice about everything.
That is weird. The weird ageism that young people get. It's not the same as old people, but it is no respect. Like get out, get your young ass out of here.
No respect. Yeah.
I mean, not always wrong. Like,
exactly.
When I see a new comic, I'll be like, listen, you might be very.
Oh, they got to pay their dues. Yeah.
You're going to be bad at this for a while. And I'm only saying that because everyone I've ever seen was bad at this. Like, I'm sure, you know, like culinary students, when they come to you, they might have really, like, developed skills in some areas, but they have to learn how to work in like
you have to do a real good face because a lot they're telling your ideas, you're like, you're not going to do that. That's not happening. Or that's just so unreal. But you don't want to kill the light, right? No. Like I think every creative has this light in them, and if it like it just burns, right? If you put out that light, it's like over.
You can't tell new comics how hard it's going to be, or they will quit.
Yeah, you're making no money. Like there has to be some kind of passion. Like I'm about to tell you, I'm going to stop my job, my 9-to-5 job where I'm making a good living and put food in a truck and roam around and try to I mean, that takes a lot of passion, you know? Sure. And I always tell people, I'm like, do you love what you do? Like, if you don't freaking love it, like, don't do it, you know? Because if you don't love it right now, when it's not hard, when it gets hard, it's going to be it's the end.
And you're just gonna build. Even if you do really well at something you don't love, you're gonna build it more and more, and then you're gonna have more you don't love to do, which is like the worst problem.
And you're now tied to it. And that's who you are now.
Now you've overhead everything. It's like
and you've definitely. I mean, there's definitely money that's been wasted and stuff. So like, I would just say like, you have to have that passion. You have to love what you do. You have to have a good, pay your dues with the community, like feed your church, get the feedback, like I think that is money well spent in what it's worth, and like food cost and your time, I think pays off. Yeah,
it seems like that's like a backbone to you all's business strategy is just community.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I just feel like in a food truck, you literally don't have a home. Like you need other people to have hospitality for you and then speak for you. Like other chefs speaking for other chefs does so much for people's business.
It also is like, I believe it more. Where it's like, if someone's like, I'm great, I'm like, well, you're incentivized to say that.
But if another comedian is telling you another comedian is good, you're going to trust that, right?
That's how the only way comedy works is you're like, is this guy? And there's like all sorts of like code where you're like, if somebody says nice guy, you're like, he's terrible.
He's a nice guy. That's good. That's a good one.
He's so nice. You go, that's brutal.
He's a good guy, man.
Because it's like, that's not what I asked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is he funny? He got very good shoes,
The
man.
food stuff, though, is crazy where there is like real, I'm just, as someone outside looking in who like reads about it a lot and like thinks, like loves food and tries to like follow it. There's like a street cred thing of like some food is doing really well and some food is like respected. You just kind of read between the lines. Like, oh, that's awesome. I like that stuff.
Yeah, and we have to eat at the places.
Yeah, it's
like we have to give them our money.
Now, is there a certain type of food that does better in food trucks? Like, is there Chinese food doing better? Wings?
No.
What's the most?
Okay, we're in Nashville.
All right.
As much as everyone wants to pretend they're adventurous, hot dogs, burgers, American food does the best.
Really?
Tacos, obviously.
Okay, so Americans up top. And then you probably go.
They want to pretend that they're like ethnic food.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
I mean, they do, but they're not gonna. They're
the bread and butter.
The burger trucks are doing the best still. Like after all these years, the burger trucks are still like we're up there. It's bread and cheese. It's not that. It's not crazy.
Setup, right? Makes like for a food truck, it's like you just have a flat top for that.
Yeah.
And you're kinda, if you're gonna do something more complicated.
We all basically have the same setup, unless it's like a wood burning oven pizza truck, that has like a.
There's got to be some food
million-degree oven inside of it.
The process, you can't really set up a truck to do. Like I'm trying to think what would
be
like
everything. The taco truck is like obviously tested and true. It just is what it is. Burgers can be done on a flat top. Grilled cheese, same. And if you can get a truck that's already built out that you kind of like don't need special modifications for, like a pizza oven or like some kind of weird, corn dog fryer or something that you have to put in, all the better, because then you're kind of like saving yourself on like making anything from scratch is gonna cost more money. So I mean that's what we did. Our current truck, it was just a chassis, which is like just the base, and then we literally drew out everything we wanted. But that was our third truck. It was so fun, and we had to go to New Jersey to do it, and it was just real Jersey there. And my husband and I drove it back because we flew there. We drove it back, and I slept on the floor. Because we drove it back, and so I was like, I'm tired, and it's like, so I slept on the floor, but sleeping on the floor of a food truck is like, there was like metal shavings in my hair. This is terrible, but there's no choice.
Tell me this: what are some of the reasons that food trucks fail?
I think just not having a consistent schedule, so people just don't know how to find you. I think. Not having I think easy is the best. Simple is the best.
What do you mean easy? Easy like?
Easy menu. Like if you have like 20 different things and it takes you forever, and it's like do one thing really, really good. Make it to where like I can't get that anywhere else. I'm going to drive an hour out of my way just to go find this truck that I could just go to a restaurant and sit inside. It's comfortable. You can get more things. Like we are like, you cannot get this pimento mac and cheese anywhere else in town. Like create that thing that nobody else can do and make it a craveable thing, and just really, really market yourself. like tell your story to people, like make there be an emotional connection. Because I think when you do that, people want to support you, you know? It's not just a burger. It's like these guys doing this burger, they're so cool, they're fun. Like I want to go and be a part of that, you know? Like it's just a whole marketing thing. I think people that understand marketing are doing the best right now.
Yeah.
Like hands down. Josh.
I gotta get my social media going, dude.
Yeah.
I gotta get an Instagram.
Break down how social media works for
Yeah, I mean, it's just the game. You know, you got to play the game. And it's like, and I think the people that denied it are the people that ended up closing because they're just like, we make the best. Why are they not coming? It's like because people don't know where you are. You know, they don't know how to find you. You didn't create the story. You didn't create the reason why.
Yeah, and
you know,
gotta do the work to let them know. They're not going to do the work to find you.
Right.
it's a lot of work, especially if somebody's like an older generation that like is just a really good chef. You know, like and they don't understand that it's always like the chef and then the daughter who's younger who starts the social media for them and is like that's I know a food truck like that
Now
like
tell me this: what about restaurants who are staples, or like maybe a fish house or a hot chicken spot or a spot? What do you think? Should they go out and get food trucks even though they're a successful restaurant? Is that extra business or is that just extra hassle?
So if it's like a legendary place like Prince's and they open a food truck, I think that's just like all the better. There's one place, you know, like there's like like and it's like it can be represented at like CMA Fest and like festivals.
Because your story's already told.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Exactly. And I think those kind of trucks do well with just serving their like bestseller.
Yep.
You know, like they're not making new things up, you know, like you're just going in with your hits. That's it. And I think that most of the time people are going to order that anyways. And then you can turn that stuff out faster. If you're taking more than 5 minutes to give out food of a food truck, you're not making enough money because it's all about the timing. Yes. So you're just like,
So
if you're
that's the
not
time limit you
burning
give yourself on
thing,
food
5
trucks?
to 7 minutes.
Woo! Okay.
And if it's more than that, we're apologizing. We're like, sorry, this is, you know what I mean? Like we've just probably gotten a 25 person order.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That we are knocking out. So like my guys just yesterday knocked out like 83 people in an hour.
Jeez.
That they're freaking beasts. I mean, that's like skill right there.
Seriously.
That's preparation, that's planning, that's execution. And so like literally when they come back, I'm like, you guys killed. There's just like when they come back to the restaurant, because they come back and unload and wash dishes and
come back like Kobe.
count out. Seriously, they come back to the restaurant and be like, yeah, we just did 83 in an hour. Like, yeah. Like people, like they turn through, you know, and it's just they come back like I mean, just like, you know, it's just I'm so proud that they're at that level, and it takes us. I mean, that is like a skill, you know, and it's like they're done with their day. They go home. They made their money. They go home, you know. So, but it's also like 1,000,000 degrees. It's 20 degrees hotter in a food truck.
Something about that interaction with people though.
Oh, they love
the fire
it.
department. I hated everybody on the fire department, but when we would go out and make calls. And I would like have to like an old lady, even if she's cussing me out, it's like 2 a.m.
You hated her too?
No, but I loved her though. Like that was the best part of the job. It was like the actual people and helping the people and making them feel cool. That was the best part.
It's also like massively missing in 2023 from most things. Where you're like I went to a restaurant. I was on the road doing comedy. I'd be home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I'd get the same breakfast burrito every day for like 2 years. Damn. And eventually they become your friend. And you're like, oh, well, it's kind of nice to start my day by seeing my friend. I mean,
it's true.
You don't really have to do anything. Like, also, I would walk in and they would start making the thing and I would never order. And you'd see other
We do that too. We do that too at the shop.
That's a really good flex. You bring your girl in, you sit down.
You're like,
I just pulled the flex.
Give me the
just
flex.
did it. I bring my girl to the grilled cheese drink. I just did this move.
I hooked you up. I was like,
I was like, when they go through the back of the kitchen in Goodfellas. That's the closest.
I was like, excuse me, is Crystal here?
And then a wink, and then just sit down. Be like, that's it. And then you just sit down.
They're like, does he not know how this works?
Yeah.
I actually know how it works.
And then food just comes out, and he's like, yeah, that's right.
It's great.
It's so great. And I'm talking, that's like how we serve each other. Like when I go to restaurants and I know like they know that I'm there. You know, it's just such a good feeling. Yes,
that's like
it's such a good feeling.
It's
such a good feeling. I mean, it's just like for what it costs them, it's like it makes you feel so special, and it makes us like want to keep supporting each other.
And also, when they come to your place, you probably want to like shower them with stuff because it's like it's a communal.
Well, you're kind of like you want to like a little small flex, you know, just be like, look what we're doing here.
Well,
I love it.
I believe has been one of the most fun episodes.
It's great.
This is so fun.
It was informative. It was funny. It was great. tell everybody watching, even if they're not from Nashville, where can they find you and who you are?
All right. I'm Crystal Bogan, and I am the owner of the Grilled Cheesery here in Nashville, Tennessee. And our location is at 2003 Belcourt Avenue in Hillsborough Village.
All right. Instagram, Twitter,
Instagram, at the Grilled Cheesery. Yeah, just search the Grilled Cheesery. I mean, that's literally, we dominate. We dominate
That's
those,
yeah.
Yeah.
It'll pull up. You type in G and it's just
If it doesn't, someo's not doing their job. Yeah, which is me. Yeah.
All right, and as always, follow us. We're at Comedy Country all over the place. I'm at Sir Joshua Black.
At Connor Larson Comedy.
And we'll see you next time. Peace.